Hi, thank you, Emily. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for having me join you. It is a pleasure to be with you, and it is especially exciting to be here with Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who is honestly one of the best people that we could have here talking about groundbreakers and history makers. So, Madam Speaker, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Madam Leader. It's my honor to be with you once again. We shared a conversation with the Ohio Democratic Party. I commend you for your leadership and the family tradition of public service that you bring to all of this. So I was very excited to be with you today. Of course, for Emily's List. Aren't we all blessed that Emily's List exists and thrives and is so successful?
Yes, absolutely. And you're a major part of that. But I want to get started as we're talking about groundbreakers and history makers. And as I said, you're a perfect person for this conversation. And just a couple of weeks ago, we saw you and Vice President Kamala Harris stand in two of the most powerful positions in the world. And I just want to ask you very simply, how was that for you professionally and personally? And what message do you think that sends to young girls and women across the world who are watching?
Well, Madam Leader, thank you for that question because it was a source of pride, as you can just imagine. But more important than that, it was wonderful to be there. You know, I had been there as first woman speaker, so we had made that history already. But being speaker and vice president is more than times two. It's exponential. It was so it was crossing a threshold. It was sending a message to young girls that not only is the sky's the limit, there is no limit for you. But really, Madam Leader, what was most important to me was not that we were there, that was important, but that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, was speaking about the issues of concern to our country, focusing on women, whether it was how we build back better for our country by having more women involved with childcare, with equal pay for equal work, with family and medical leave, that we respect. And I know this is an important issue to you, passing the Violence Against Women Act. The list goes on and on, what he said about access to quality, affordable health care, so many issues where that make a difference in the lives of women so that women can participate in a stronger way in whatever is happening in our country. If we want women to be part of the workforce in a significant way, we must have childcare and we must have it significantly. So that's what it was really about, was that not only are we here, but the message is not just about us, but about every woman in America and what our presence and his presidency means to them.
Absolutely. And the work of Emily's List is all about electing women who are groundbreakers and history makers and bring those perspectives to make better laws that you just talked about with childcare and engaging in the workforce. And right now, you're leading a caucus in really our country, powered by the leadership of Emily's List and the women who have been elected with the strength of women across this country. And we have a Democratic president in the White House. We have a Democratic majority in the House and the Senate, thank goodness. But please share why you are holding these majorities and why they're so important, and why electing Emily's List women to Congress is so critically important for the future of our country.
Well, it is important to the future of our country, but it is important in getting us where we are today as well for the past generation of women that Emily's List has helped elect. Let me say that Ellen Malcolm, she was like a suffragist. You know, she's the equivalent of, she had an idea, she had a vision, she had a plan, and she had the determination to get it done. And it has made a tremendous difference. And then others, Stephanie Shirok, just the force of nature, just somebody so spectacular, strategic in her thinking to take it to the next step. Emily Kane, of course, wonderful as a director there. But the thing is that, quite frankly, over the years, when I went to Congress, there were like 23 members who were women out of 435. We said we have to change this, and the Democratic women there did, and we went from 13 to 90. The Republicans went from 12 to or 11 to They have a higher number in the 30s now, but they haven't had the success that we have had. And it's important because I've said this before about Emily's List. We would not have had women chairs of committees who are elected. We would not have had a woman Speaker of the House without the women members of Congress there. It didn't mean the men didn't participate, but women showed the way. And in terms of a woman's right to choose, which was one of the important principles of Emily's List, that we finally now have a majority in the Congress that is 100% pro-choice, and that's a wonderful, that is, well, let me say, we have the 218 that we would need a majority of the Congress, and that's a big thing, and that would not have happened without Emily's List. And that's important because if women are going to take their full role in our society, in our economy, in our community, women have to be able to determine their own fate, their size and timing of their families and the rest. It's a central issue there. Of course, we're grateful to Emily's List for what it has done in the gun violence prevention thing. And I congratulate you. I saw you receive the Gabby Gifford Award before, of the leader of the future, the present and the future. So the connection is one that is a values-based connection for our country. Congratulations to you on your leadership and the recognition you received with the Gabby Giffords Award.
Thank you, Speaker Pelosi. Really appreciate that. Appreciate the opportunity to share our story in Ohio and to lead in Ohio. But I know that I haven't been able to make it where I want to without the leadership of people like you, Madam Speaker, as well as folks like Stephanie Shriak and Ellen Malcolm, who, as former presidents of Emily's List, really set the bar high and made sure that we had a place and that we belonged. And it's not going to be too much longer before we see a new president of Emily's List, which we're all excited for. But in the meantime, we're working. 2022 is happening right now. And so what are you looking forward to in accomplishing with your work with Emily's List and the new president and your ongoing work in our communities and maintaining the majority in the House?
Well, I look forward to working, of course, with Emily's List. And they are a respect, not only are they an entity, an initiative of commanding great respect, they are sophisticated in the arena of politics. You know, they're values-based, they know their goals and values, but they're sophisticated, so other people want to work with Emily's List. That collaboration in all of this is very important. And this election coming up is a very important one. I don't believe in some of the things that people say, well, in the year of the president is a Democrat, then they lose seats. Forget that. That's ancient and obsolete and has no standing anymore because people receive their information in quite a different way now, and we have to take advantage of that. And what better messenger to women than Emily's List? Shared values, shared interest in having more women. Now, why is that important? Well, we believe when women succeed, America succeeds. So it's about our country. It's about our families. It's about building back better, you know, just with the complete involvement of women. So we have been having, under the leadership of our chairman, Sean Patrick Maloney, intense listening sessions about how let me say it this way. I'm a sports fan. I had 5 older brothers. All we did was watch sports. I'm a sports fan. And somebody said in basketball, there'd probably be 3 runs in a game, 3 runs where people just score and score and score. Make sure at least 2 of them are yours. So we're going to have a big run this year. I believe that you can set the stage for the election, of course, in this previous year, because that's where you show your strength, your mobilization at the grassroots level, your fundraising, the mobilization, the money, the messaging to bring it all together. And that's when you attract women to run, because they'll see the prospect. Women, people of color, young people, more people running to give us the beautiful diversity of our country in the Congress. And by like the fall, the Republicans will have to take a look and say, no, they look like they're pretty organized, funded, unified, I think I won't run. So that's the first run. And then next year we have another run to ensure that we're getting out, again, continuing our work to get out a strong vote. But central to it all is the message. And important to it all are the candidates who deliver that message. So I think that the Republicans are even learning that women candidates are trusted messengers for the message and for the future. And I'm hoping that we have over 100. Imagine that in the year that we observed the 100th anniversary of women having the right to vote, we had over 100 women in the House of Representatives. That was pretty spectacular. But you know what? We want more.
Yes.
We want more. And in our caucus, we are more than a third, nearly a half of our caucus are women. But again, doesn't speak for the whole Congress. So we want to continue to grow our numbers because we know we will then increase our effectiveness in getting the job done. And when young women starting families and this or that, see people in Congress who are sharing their experience, I think it gives them great confidence. And that's what we want women to have is confidence. Know their power. Know that they can do it. And that it's not a zero-sum game. One woman's success is not diminishing another's, and that we have each other's backs.
So that's a perfect segue to what I want to ask you next, because we know that when women run, they win, and we have to convince women to run sometimes, even asking them upwards of 7 times to consider it. But we've seen all across this country, especially over the last few years, an increase and spike of right-wing harassment and attacks towards women, and a lot of extremism. And it makes it even more challenging to do this job that is already very hard when you're away from home, sometimes away from family, and then you have to deal with all of this. And so as a personal note, I want to ask you, as the minority leader in Ohio, Speaker Pelosi, how do you personally find the courage to lead in spite of all of this? And what difference do you believe that women's leadership is making in this politically polarized time?
Well, my motivation is about the children. I always say to women when they want to be involved, know your why. Why do you want to do this? You know your why, Madam Leader. Know your why. My why was that I have 5 children. My husband and I have 5 children. And when I was seeing that 1 in 5 children, we have 5 children, 1 in 5 children in America goes to sleep hungry at night in poverty. Living in poverty, I couldn't handle that. So I thought I've got to leave home to make a difference. As my children grew older, I'm of another generation. I could do this sequentially. When my kids were almost all in college, then I came to Congress. But the thing is the urgency of why you want to do this. And then I say to them, know your subject. What is it? Mine was children. Some it's the climate. Some it's the economy. Some it's justice. They're all related, but nonetheless, know what you bring to the table. So people trust your judgment in that area and in others. So your why, your what, your how. Show people how you can persuade others to your point of view. And what the most important, compelling point is your sincerity, that you are committed, that you are knowledgeable, and that you have a plan. And with all of that authenticity, women, you will succeed. You will be a leader. But you have to, if you're in the arena, it's not for the faint of heart. Do I have to tell you that, Madam Leader?
No, ma'am, you don't.
It is not for the faint of heart. And Teddy Roosevelt talked about when you're in the arena, it's a different thing. You're not a spectator. Now you're in the arena. So I always say, because I'm about the children, when you're in the arena, you have to be ready to take a punch. But you also have to be ready to throw a punch for the children.
I love it. That is great advice, Madam Speaker. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with Emily's List and for the We Are Emily conference. It is a pleasure to see you. I am personally inspired by you, and I know there are many others who are thankful for your leadership and your willingness to throw a punch for the children.
Well, I thank you. I thank you, Madam Leader, and I thank Emily's List for enabling women to know their power, to have the confidence to run, because nothing is more wholesome than the increased participation of women. Thank you, Madam Leader. My pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Speaker.